Volkswagen's got a new van. This is the 2021 T6.1 Transporter van, and there are a lot of changes going on with this new update. We've got more technology on the inside, there's more safety and a few mechanical changes as well, so let's take a closer look. This T6.1 Transporter facelift replaces T6, and that's a platform that dates back to 2003 with the T5. Safety specs get boosted across the board with autonomous emergency braking below 30 k's an hour, blind spot monitoring, crosswind assist, rear cross traffic alert and multi-collision brake. There's also a new electric power steering system for the Transporter, which enables some of the active safety technology. I'm currently sitting in cruise specification. It's quite a high spec. You're looking at $73,990 before on-road costs. So as you expect, there's some nice stuff going on up front here. You've got the bigger infotainment display, that's got Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and you've also got a digital instrument cluster in front of you here. These seats are a bit nicer than your normal multivan. These are a two-tone with a bit of a suede finish going on. You've also got some handy armrests, but a lot of the hard points are shared with the Transporter and multivan range overall. So your seating position, you've got tilt and rake in the steering column, manual parking brake down here, and no center console. You haven't got storage there, but you can walk through. And you've also got storage points along the dashboard here, up on top. And coming from a commercial vehicle, that's actually really handy for a family car. However, the most important thing for a family car, I reckon, is in the second row. So let's go have a look. I actually lied. I'm not in the second row of the multivan. I've gone straight into the back, but this is very different to most other people movers and SUVs in the back row. Because this truly is a van, there is no tapering roof or anything like that. I've got lots of headroom, lots of legroom and footroom. This is a completely flat floor. I've got some amenities as well. 12 volt down there, cup holders on the side. I've got sunshades in the windows. And the slight difference here is that instead of having 3 people in the second row and 2 in the third row, this multivan does things the other way around. And there's a cool trick with this second row as well. Rotating captain's chairs. And as you can see, there is mountains of space in that second row. As good as the multivan is in the second and third rows inside, the boot is perhaps a little bit underdone. I've got electric tailgate in this cruise specification, but as you can see, this boot is perhaps not as big as others in the segment. I've already moved that third row forward to free up some space, but it's just not as big as others. I'm drawn to compare this to the Kia Carnival, which has a boot that really dips down here in the bottom and has so much room for the growing family. This is good enough, I have to say. You've got a 12 volt plug there as well, which is handy, but perhaps it's not as good as the best in the segment. T6.1 also gets a new range of 2-litre turbo diesel engines, making between 85 and 145 kilowatts and between 250 and 450 Newton meters of torque. There is a range of manual and automatic transmissions, and some of these powertrains come with Euro 6 compatibility. With this mid-specification 340 Newton meter engine, you can get a 6-speed manual, but I've got the 7-speed automatic, and I dare say it would be the most popular choice, especially if you're spending long periods of time behind the wheel. It's a dual clutch automatic transmission, and Volkswagen has had a lot of experience with these over the years. Not all of it good either, but this one is great, and it shows that this sort of technology is getting better and better all the time. The old criticism of a dual clutch transmission is that it was just never as smooth or easy to use as a torque converter auto in terms of low speed maneuvering, smooth shifting and that sort of thing. However, this gearbox mimics a torque converter quite well. There isn't that lag in clutch take-up that lets the car free roll at times, especially when you're parking or reverse parking up a hill. That normally brings a dual clutch undone, but I tested it in this one and it performed easily. Around town, it's hard to tell otherwise. This is a smooth operator, it's easy to drive. And I think that's important if you're going to be spending bulk hours behind the wheel of this Transporter van. Another thing that helps with fuel economy is the steering. This is a new electromechanical steering setup. And while it does save a couple of milliliters of fuel here and there, it also is good for steering. Going around corners, just like this one, you've got very light feeling. It's also light at a stop, at speed, just about everywhere. And it makes the Transporter feel easy to drive and easy to live with. There isn't any vagueness there. It's a nice balance. It's not sporty sharp, but it's also not super vague like you might expect an old van to be. But because it's light, it just feels like it isn't a chore to drive this van around, even if you're turning constantly, doing 3-point turns, tight corners and that sort of thing. And typical for the Transporter is a wide range of body styles: long wheelbase and short wheelbase vans, crew vans, single cab and double cab chassis models. For the full rundown of different models and specs, head over to CarAdvice.com. Like most commercial vans, this has a relatively basic interior setup. No climate control, just normal air conditioning, vinyl floors, all hard-wearing plastic materials, and cloth seats with manual adjustment. You can adjust the height right up and down. That'll help with your visibility if you want to get up a bit higher and see what's going on. But for me, I feel quite comfortable behind the wheel of this thing. I haven't spent hours behind the wheel just yet, but first impressions are quite good. While the T6.1 update is a welcome refresh for the Transporter range, it is competing against plenty of fresh competition. Stuff like Peugeot Expert and Toyota Hiace are all new and very good. However, the wide range of modern powertrains and a variety of body styles on offer will be sure to appeal to many Australian commercial buyers. Let us know in the comments below, do you think this new Transporter has what it takes to beat the segment-leading Toyota Hiace? And while you're here, hit like and hit subscribe on CarAdvice on YouTube and head over to CarAdvice.com for the full story.